Hi, and join me as we are going to look at enhancing freckles through Lightroom, working with our raw files and enhancing those freckles, especially when working with black and white images. It's one of my absolutely favorite things to do. It looks incredible. You do need to have freckles on your subject first to enhance them, but for the right subject, it is absolutely amazing. So here is one of my raw images shot for a headshot session. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a dramatic freckle image that is just absolutely breathtaking to look at. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with my crop. Now I love a tight knit crop. I like to bring my crops really, really close, roughly working on the rule of thirds, quite central, eyes on the rule of thirds, and that works for me. That's quite nice. We're drawn into the eyes. So happy with that. So using Lightroom, what we're going to do, firstly, we're going to put it into black and white mode. And you can see that has created a nice effect, although it hasn't done anything particular to the freckles just yet. So that's where we're going to go down to our black and white mixer here. Now we've always got our base tools here. I can play around with my highlights, which you can see sort of enhances it, but flattens my image a little bit more. I can play around with the shadows, which doesn't really touch them too much. However, I'm just going to play with the black and white mix. Now, by using the different tones within the image, for example, the eyes are blue and bits of the top, as you can see, are blue, I can lighten and darken those areas. Now, freckles are orange. This is going to be different on people who have more orange tones within their skin tone. It's going to work on everyone differently. But if you've got someone who is naturally very freckly, this technique should work quite well. So we're going to grab the orange and we're just going to pull them down a little bit. Now, if you go too far, you're going to get sort of I call it a sunburn kind of look, because it's what they used to do in the adverts to show what sun damage can do. However, I'm just going to pull it down a little bit just so I've got those freckles, and I'm going to up my red a tiny bit, which, as you can see, is the other colours in the skin. And it works from there. Now that's quite nice. That's quite nicely enhanced. It all looks quite good. We have definitely got definition, especially from here to here. We can see those freckles. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize affects this is the white balance. You're in black and white. Why would your white balance affect it? But it does. If you come up to your temperature and you start playing with that temperature, it is going to have a drastically different effect on that image. Because your oranges are essentially changing. So it's always worth playing around a little bit with what temperature is going to be best for you. In this instance, I'm around 6,000, which in color would be very warm. But here, for black and white, that has actually enhanced our freckles even more. I think that's looking great. Absolutely lovely. Now, last thing I think I'm going to do before I've got this image ready for editing is I'm going to play with my highlights a little bit, put shadows down. And for this instance, because I quite like the texture, I like the gritty effect, and of course, because he's got the most beautiful skin ever, and this isn't going to cause any problem, we can play with things like texture and clarity that will just enhance those freckles a little bit more. Now, if you're unsure if you like this technique, don't do it. You can do this in Photoshop later. You can enhance the freckles a little bit more later. But it does give that nice gritty, real kind of effect. And really not much more is needed once we get this image in Photoshop. Now, the one thing you want to be careful of is with these oranges, as I said, you can change the skin tone too much and it can get a bit patchy. That can happen in some of the darker areas of your image. So it's not really that bad, but it's a little bit patchy around here. Now, most of the image is perfect, so that's just something I'll probably tweak in Photoshop, just soften down a little bit. Totally worth it for the beautiful effect that we've got. So that is our original image, and that is our dramatic, freckly kind of image. So I absolutely love this technique. There's only one more thing I would personally be doing to enhance it, to push it to the next level, and that would be adding a little bit of color. So let's go down to our color grading, grab the shadows, whack in a tiny little bit of orange in there, grab our highlights, go for a bit of yellow, and give me a slightly metallic-y kind of look. I'm going to pull my highlights up a little bit more. I'm actually going to pull my highlights shadows, sorry, down a tiny bit more there. And you see that black and white before was lovely, bit flat. Now it's got a bit of life to it. It's got something a bit more interesting. It's my own personal preference. I really enjoy adding a bit of colour into my black and whites. None of my black and whites are ever actually black and white, but I absolutely love this image, and I think that one looks really great. So let me know how you get on in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys have created. But that's how to add freckles in Lightroom.